Hello, and welcome to the Quietly Visible podcast. I'm your host, Carol Stewart, founder of Abounding Solutions and author of Quietly Visible, Leading with Influence and Impact as an Introverted Woman. And this is the podcast for introverted women who want to thrive as leaders and in life. Now, today I'm talking about comfort zones and the dangers of staying in your comfort zone and what you can do to step out of it. Now, comfort zone is that place where you feel comfortable. It feels like, and I use this analogy sometimes, a comfortable old pair of slippers. They're a bit worn, they're a bit shabby, but they're comfortable. And you feel safe and secure in them. And that's what you can be a bit like that in being in a comfort zone. You feel, and I'll put in inverted commas, safe and secure because you're familiar with what you're doing and what you know, and you know it well. You don't have to stress too much about it, and you can just get on and do it. But there are dangers to staying in a comfort zone, and you can get stuck in a rut when you're stuck in a comfort zone. Now, I've seen this many times, both in my coaching work and also with outside my coaching work with people that I know as well, where they've maybe been doing a job for a long time and they know the job inside out. The job is no longer challenging them, it's not stretching them. They've probably achieved all they can in that particular role, but they know it. It feels safe, it feels secure. But that can actually be a false sense of security because, in this day and age, no jobs are secure for life because things can happen, change can happen. We look at the pace of change. If I look sort of over my career, back to sort of the early days of my career and how much change has taken place, and how jobs have changed, jobs that are available now, which didn't even exist when I was starting out in my career. And I recall working with some people who were unhappy in what they were doing, but they didn't feel that they could do anything else. They'd become stuck in a rut. They were comfortable. Their job felt relatively secure. It was convenient, but they were dissatisfied and they weren't stretching themselves and they weren't challenging themselves. And I used to encourage them. This is before I started coaching, my coaching business, should I say. I used to encourage them to look at the skills that they had and what transferable skills they had. And I remember one particular colleague that I worked with who felt that they couldn't do anything else because they had been doing what they were doing for so long. And so I encouraged her, and this is where my interest for coaching came in, is situations like this. And as a leader, coaching being an add-on to what I did, was helped her to recognize that she had transferable skills, to revisit the job description to see what the requirements of the role were and how those skills that were required for the role could be transferred into other things. Anyway, back to the dangers of staying in a comfort zone. And some of the dangers of staying in the comfort zone are you don't progress, you stay as you are. And if you're wanting to progress in your career, if you're wanting to progress as a leader, then it requires stepping out of your comfort zone. And I've seen situations with clients where it's held them back. One particular client who was very good at utilizing her strengths, she recognized her strengths, and she was good at her helping her team to utilize their strengths and recognize their strengths and to put them into use. But what she was doing was she was in a comfort zone, and so she wasn't pushing herself to get opportunities that would help her to demonstrate that she could perform at the next level because it took her out of her comfort zone. And there was a number of things that were going on for her as to why she wasn't do that. So while she was doing really well at what she did, her performance of her department was amazing. Her team were engaged and motivated. She was no longer challenged. She was not being stretched, and she knew that she was capable of far more than that. But the fear of putting herself in situations that she didn't feel confident about took her out of her comfort zone. And so that was why she wasn't taking on those opportunities that would have enabled her to demonstrate that she could perform at the next level. And another danger of staying in a comfort zone when you're stuck in a rut is it can lull you into a false sense of security. You think you're safe. There's that saying that goes, better the devil you know than the devil that you don't know. So you'd rather stay in something that you're comfortable with, even if you're not happy and you don't enjoy it. But the problem with that is if you stay too long there, then if change happens, if your organization goes through a restructure, then all of a sudden you're forced to do something about it. That can be scary. And I've seen that happen as well, where clients have been in roles where they have been comfortable, they have known their job inside out, and then suddenly the organization has gone through a restructure and they've had to either reapply for their role or face losing their job and looking for something else. And then that has been very challenging for them because they haven't kept their CV up to date. They haven't kept their skills up to date, or when I say up to date, developed themselves. And so all of a sudden they're in this scary situation where they then have to start looking at how they can further develop themselves and how they can now go out there into the big wide world and do something different. And so if that's you and you are stuck in a rut or you are in a comfort zone, here are my tips to help you step out of it. So first of all, it's to address your fears. What is it that keeps you there? What is it that is keeping you from taking on that next opportunity, taking on that next challenge? Look at what it is that you're worrying about, what it is that you are fearful of. Now, I remember some years ago, I did a survey, and I think it was either 83% or 85% of employed women that took my survey said that fear kept them stuck in a job that they no longer enjoyed. And for many people, it can be the fear of the unknown. It can be fear of rejection. It can be fear of being told that you're not good enough. So look at what it is that you're fearful of and look at how you can address that fear. So it's about reflecting on what it is that is keeping where you're at. What is it that is preventing you from going after what it is that you want? And then looking at the fear that is keeping you stuck, that is keeping you there, and how you can address it. Is if it's a fear of rejection, then, when it comes to applying for jobs and you're worried that people will say no, you'll get told no, you'll get the door shut in your face, then recognize that, that could happen. And if that did happen, that is okay. There could be many reasons why you would be unsuccessful. It might be that there's somebody who had got better experience than you, or got more experience than you, or who's better qualified than you. It could be that you didn't necessarily promote yourself well at the interview or in your job in the application or on your CV. So rather than looking at it as, you're worried that you'll get told no, sometimes what I've seen people do is apply for jobs that they are not overly bothered about, just to get that experience when they've not been, when they have been in a role for a very long time, is to apply for jobs that they're, if they get it, it's good. If they don't get it, it's no big deal. It's no biggie. And what can happen with that? The more you have riding on an outcome, the more it can be fearful. And so if you're applying for a role that you want badly and you've got a lot depending on it, you're more likely to put more pressure on yourself about it and worry about it and become anxious about it than if it's something that it's neither here nor there. So applying for a role that is not necessarily your dream role, but you're just doing that for the experience. If you've not applied for a job in a long time, you've not had to go through that process in a long time. So it's like getting your CV up to date, getting your LinkedIn profile up to date, applying for positions, and getting that interview experience. Because the more experience you get, the easier it becomes. Because it might be that if you've been in a role for a long time, that just going for an interview can feel scary. So getting practice at it, real life practice, and not just doing role play or a mock interview. Yes, mock interviews are good, but because they can give you an indication as to what to expect, what kind of questions, and how you can respond to them. But nothing beats a real life interview where you are put under the conditions of a real life interview. So applying for something that you are not overly bothered about, just to get that experience of applying for jobs, having interviews until you find the one that you really, really want. And if it's a fear of the unknown that is keeping you in your comfort zone, then oftentimes the fear of the unknown is because we like to be in control of our situation. We like to know what's around the corner. And when we don't, it can feel like it's a threat to our personal sense of security. And we can worry that the worst possible thing is going to happen. So if you can mitigate what could happen or what those concerns of yours are, then that will help it to seem less scary, less fearful. So thinking about what, if you're going through a particular situation or you're looking at how you can overcome that fear of the unknown, look at, well, what are the possibilities for you? What are the opportunities that exist for you? What are the concerns and what are the worries? And how can you address those concerns and those worries? If it's the fear of not being good enough or being told that you're not good enough, that's sort of similar to a fear of rejection. But that fear of being, or imposter syndrome, that fear that you're going to get found out that you're not good enough, it's about how you can challenge that thinking, look at the skills that you have, the experience you've got. You may find it helpful to look at praise and recommendations that you've received over the years, and just reminding yourself of the fact that you are good at what you do, that you have got skills, that you have got talent. And one thing that you may find helpful is what I said, that I mentioned earlier, that I said to my work colleague, my team member, was just reacquainting yourself with your job description as to the requirements of the role, identifying the skills that you have, thinking of good examples that demonstrate that you have been able to perform your role. And so then thinking that when you're looking for jobs, knowing that you're reacquainting yourself with your successes, your achievements, the praises and recommendations, the skills that are required, that can help you go into applying for another role with a bit more confidence, or feeling more confident that you have the ability, you have the skills, you can do it. And when it comes to actually stepping out of your comfort zone, it can be overwhelming when you think, oh my gosh, I've been in this job for X amount of years, and you're worrying about that. It can be it can seem very overwhelming, um, about what you have to do. And so rather than just looking at the enormity of what needs to be done, break it down into baby steps. What's the first thing that needs to be done? It might be you update your LinkedIn profile. Then it might be you update your CV. Then it might be that you start looking for roles, or you start registering with some job search organizations, some recruitment agencies, and having a chat with them to find out what it is that you want to do or what is available. So breaking it down into baby steps rather than looking at the enormity of, oh my gosh, I've been in this role for X amount of years and now I've got to go and do something else or get something else. So that can, and if that's feeling overwhelming, it can make you feel anxious. And so break it down into baby steps and take baby steps as you go about the whole process. And also speak to other people. Speak to people that have done it, people, ex-colleagues that have maybe taken that leap. And this doesn't just apply to comfort zones at work. Then you may be in a comfort zone personally as well, in terms of that, you're a bit stuck in a rut. There's things that you want to do in life, but you're not doing them because of some of the things I've talked about: fear of the unknown, fear of rejection, fear of being considered not good enough. You don't know where to start. And so you stay where it feels comfortable. So if it is a personal thing that you're stuck in a comfort zone about, then, see how you can apply what I'm sharing. Although I'm focusing on work and your job and being stuck in a comfort zone at work, it equally can apply to your personal life as well. So taking baby steps, breaking down what it is that's needed and thinking about, well, what's the first thing that I can do to start making that change? And then when it comes to stepping out of the comfort zone, it's about taking action that stretches you, that challenges you, that feels slightly uncomfortable, but not taking yourself too far out of your comfort zone into your distress zone. So if you think of a comfort zone as being in a circle, and then sort of outside of that circle, you have your stretch zone. And if even further out, much wider, you have your distress zone. Now, if you take yourself from your comfort zone right into your distress zone, that is going to be stressful. That is going to be overwhelming. It's going to be stressful. It's going to make you feel anxious, and you're likely to freeze and panic and not do what you want to do. So don't take yourself out into your distress zone. Challenge yourself, stretch yourself, and do something that is uncomfortable, not overly uncomfortable, but slightly uncomfortable, that stretches you, it challenges you, it pushes you. And then once you've done it, reflect on it, and then do something else that takes you out of your comfort zone, that stretches you, that challenges you, and keep doing that. And the more that you do that, the easier it will get to step out of your comfort zone, to do things that, to take risks. And when I say take risks, it's not just about taking risks without thinking about what could happen. And it's about taking calculated risks. And there's times like when I've done workshops on this, of sort of developing confidence and stepping out of your comfort zone. And I ask people to identify something that they can do that will stretch them, that will challenge them. And it's always interesting what people come up with, because some people, and this is where it's very subjective, because some people will do which, for some people, it's like, wow, it's way out of their comfort zone. I remember someone saying that they were going to do, what do you call it when you jump off the top of the building? Paragliding or something like that. Whereas for someone, like some people in the workshop, they were like, oh my gosh, that would just freak them out. And for some people, it may be that they just go somewhere on their own because it's something that they've never done before. So do things that take you out of your comfort zone, that challenge you, that stretch you. And the more you do that, you will see your confidence grow so that you remove yourself out of the comfort zone. And so, how do you recognize when you're in a comfort zone? Do you even know whether you are in a comfort zone or not? So you can, I, I mean, I would say that you probably do know if you are in your comfort zone. And it could be that you feel that you're bored, you're not being challenged, that you have a lot of time on your hands that you're spending doing things which are not meaningful or which are because you've got so much time on your hand or you know what you're doing so well and it becomes so easy that you're wasting time doing things. And sometimes what I have seen is people who, because they're in their comfort zone and they will procrastinate, and not start things and then leave it right till the last minute when they've got that pressure on, because some people work better under pressure, that they leave it right until the last minute to do something. And so it gives them that little bit of pressure. Whereas if they were being challenged on a more regular basis, yes, some people would still do that, leave it till the last minute, but it's it would be doing it that because that's how they work best, not because they're so bored that they procrastinate and then it's out of sheer panic that at the last minute they get on and do it. So where are you? Are you in your comfort zone? Are you challenging yourself on a regular basis? And the thing is, by challenging yourself on a regular basis, taking yourself out of your comfort zone. I mean, it's not something that you have to be constantly doing, but it's not allowing yourself to become stuck in a comfort zone that keeps you back, that holds you back from being all that you can be, being at your optimal, being the best version of you. So it's recognizing when you are stuck. And, I'll tell you something. I even recognize myself where sometimes that I am in a bit of a comfort zone. I'm not stretching myself or that I'm not challenging myself in ways I know that I'm capable of. And I'm someone that does like to take on challenges or take on opportunities, responsibilities. So things that I've done to step out of my comfort zone. A few years ago, I went traveling by myself for the first time, something I'd never done. Um, and when I say traveling, I mean I've traveled to visit family in different parts of the world, but not to actually go away on a holiday on my own, book into a hotel, so I'm in a strange country on my own. And I did that a few years ago. But what I did was just a short break. I booked 2 nights because I thought, oh, I don't know how I'm going to feel sort of going to a strange country, the Cyprus that I went to. And so I just booked for 2 nights. And when I got there, I thought to myself, you know what? I wish I'd booked longer because I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that experience of traveling on my own, to going sightseeing on my own, and just having my own space, my own company. I'm someone that values my own company. So having that space and that time and that adventure was good. Something else that I did that took me out of my comfort zone was 2 years ago. I went on a digital detox and I stayed in this cabin in the middle of nowhere in the countryside on my own. That was a bit scary initially because I was a bit worried as a woman as a Black woman going into an area where there's people. Well, there's probably nobody that looks like me. I wasn't sure how I'd be received, and I remember thinking that I was going to just stay in the cabin. I would go for walks, but make sure I'd got the cabin in sight so that I could run back because it was in the middle of the field, in the middle of nowhere. And the company that I'd arranged it through had assured me that it was safe because the only people that had access to the land was the farmers. And that was a wonderful experience. It was a digital detox, so there were no phones, no TV, no internet. They gave you an old Nokia phone so that if you needed to make a phone call, you could, and you were encouraged to lock your phone away. And that was a most wonderful experience. I came back there feeling refreshed, re-energized, recharged, and I felt very creative whilst I was away. I did a lot of writing and journaling. Great experience. Took me way out of my comfort zone. It was something that I really benefited from. And so, yes, what can you do to step out of your comfort zone? What can you do to challenge yourself? Because that is how you will grow. And growth happens on the other side of your comfort zone. So thank you for listening. And if you're looking to increase your confidence, influence, and impact, if you haven't completed the free assessment on my website, go to aboundingsolutions.com. There's an assessment on there that you can complete that will give you ideas about areas that you can focus on. So until the next time, bye.